I'm taking an old DIY of mine, I am hacking it with an upgrade that is not to be believed. Literally, I am looking at them and I am thinking in my mind, I didn't actually make those, but I did. And it's foolproof, and you're gonna do it too. Welcome back to the DIY Designer. My name is Orly. Super fun DIY fashion, personal style content, styling hacks, outfit ideas, all sorts of fun stuff. And today I literally am redoing and upgrading a DIY that I did a few months ago. They came out super cool, but they were very like patchy. It almost looked like a crinkled leather effect, which was cool, but not actually what my goal was. My original goal was this. I wanted like liquid metal, high shine. And even these boots here that are a little bit more like brushed looking are even all over. That's what really makes it look store-bought and not DIY'd. It's seamless, it's perfect. Everything that you need is linked down below. Every detail is gonna be within this video. I gotta say, the only reason I get to test cool DIYs like this and go out and buy the materials and spend all the time and do it is because I have incredible sponsors like Ekouaer. It's just like the coziest, yummiest, coolest, slouchiest, stuff you're ever gonna find, and it's super, super affordable. This is one of the pieces that I love. It's like that waffle knit. It's slouchy, it's comfy. Almost everything that they have has pockets. I always recommend going a size up, so it's a little oversized, but like this is how I want it to fit. This should be the new nightgown. This should be the new nightgown. Like, it is heaven on earth. You know why I like this? If you're sitting on the couch with people, like you can, and your business isn't hanging out. I liked it so much I got it in 3 colors. The shape of it's cool, it feels good. A sweater over this. You gotta have a black one. This better be your new nightgown. It's too cozy, it's too comfy, it's too practical. It works for all of the things. If you are more of an actual nightgown person, they do have good nightgowns. A cardigan over this. Cozy Christmas morning, vacation in the mountains, in the snow, with your friends. Now I've got lots of these in silk from them, but this is that sort of like, it's like a brushed fleece type of material, which is so good for the winter. Comfy, cozy, cute. Last but not least, this is my favorite. I've had this now for probably 3 or 4 months, so it has shrunk a little bit. It's so, look at this print. I very much appreciate the symmetry. Pockets, drawstring, so many good things. If you guys want to save 30% off, you're going to want to shop on Ekouaer official website, which is going to be down below. You can totally shop on Amazon as well. Tons of great options there. Really affordable, really comfortable, machine washable, pockets and everything. All right, you guys, let's get into these boots because your mind will be blown. All right, we got to give credit where credit is due because this was the ultimate inspiration. This is Julasha. I'll share her TikTok down below. She converted this, which was like a beige pair of latex shorts and a silver latex bustier, into an entirely seamless, perfect matching rose gold one for the Beyonce concert. Now, I was completely floored because it looks seamless. And one thing she explained is that when you do it this way, it's gonna take on whatever like fabric is underneath it. So it ended up looking just like latex, totally seamless because that's what she used, which made me think if I use patent boots or leather boots, it'll just look like metallic leather. So I'm gonna give it a shot. So here we go. I need Speedball Metal Leaf Adhesive Sealant. I will link it below. You're gonna need 1 brush to apply and then 1 brush to stipple. And then you're gonna need your gold leaf sheets. Now I did imitation, and if you are gonna do imitation, you're gonna wanna add a sealant on afterwards to prevent any tarnishing from happening, and I'll link that below. This was my little test patch, and as you can see, it was perfect. Super high shine, gives that liquid metal effect, so I was really excited. Now, when I started, I used a smaller brush. I ended up realizing that I can do a much larger brush and I can do much larger patches, but this was my first boot and my first try at it. You're gonna wanna let it dry. The directions are gonna say 30 minutes until it gets clear, but when it's on leather like this, it gets clear in almost 30 seconds. So you're able to move a lot faster. In the beginning, I was pulling each sheet off of the little paper it was on and then applying it directly on. It kind of like static clings to the adhesive, and so if you try to pull it and stretch it, it'll just rip. So I'll show you a much better way that I come up with in just a minute, but this is how it all started. You're gonna cover anywhere that there was adhesive by putting a gold leaf sheet onto it. It's gonna stick to it, it's gonna cling to it. Once it's entirely covered, grab your brush that has no glue on it. It's a dry brush used to stipple, and you're gonna start to push it into the adhesive, kind of fusing it into the leather. Anywhere that it's gold leaf on top of gold leaf, meaning there's no adhesive underneath it, the gold leaf piece will just sort of flake off. You can then use those pieces to patch in tiny little areas where maybe there was a hole or there's not a seamless effect. Wait for it. I mean, I spilled the entire thing, you guys. I just couldn't. I was so mad at myself. I was able to save a good amount of it by literally like soaking it up and squeezing it back into the bottle. So I ended up with a half a bottle, and it turns out that was plenty to do both of these boots and the second pair. So it was fine. Here is what I learned. This is the way you want to apply it. Take your little sheet, open it up, and use it as like an application process. You're just gonna open it and lay it flat. It's gonna be a lot easier than using your fingers, because your fingers, it'll start to stick to it, it's gonna tear. But the process here is the same. Once you cover your entire section, you start to stipple. This is the most satisfying thing that you've ever seen. It just becomes seamless. It becomes one. It becomes this shiny liquid metal, no patches, no nothing boot that you're gonna wanna do it to everything in your house. It's so easy. I also realized here that I could start doing much larger sections with a much larger brush and move at a much faster pace. And so that was great. Another thing I recommend is taking some of the gold leaf sheets and just cutting them in half. It gives you these like little skinny rectangles that you can use for smaller patches instead of putting an entire one on. Now, when you stipple, you're gonna stipple all the way in. You're gonna get a bunch of larger pieces flaking off. Once that's done, you kind of wanna buff it in, like little circular motions. That's when the high shine really starts to show up and the effect starts to become really, really apparent. Now here, the other side of the boot, you can see how much faster I went. I did the entire top half of the boot in one pass, laid all the gold sheets on, then stippled the entire thing in, buffed the entire thing in, and I finished the first top of the boot in, I don't know, maybe like 2 minutes. I decided to do the bottom, the heel as well. You're gonna notice that you're gonna get a little bit of gold leaf on the sole, even a place where you don't have glue. If it's on a place where you don't have glue, you can scrape it off like I did with the scissor, but I ultimately came up with a better solution, and I'll show that to you at the very end. Now, here's the second boot. Number one, do you see the scuffs? In my mind, I'm like, this is great. It's basically gonna be a way to patch in the scuffs. You're never gonna see them. But remember, this material is gonna look like whatever fabric is underneath it. So while the entire boot does end up looking bright silver, there is a slightly faded patch exactly where these two faded patches were, because it takes on the texture underneath. Right at this moment, I thought I had ruined the boot, because you could see it didn't look like it was soaking into the boot. It looked like the liquid was just sitting on top of it. If you do a few passes and go back over it, it starts to get stickier and stickier until it completely disappears. This whole boot has been painted and you can see it disappears. So it does work on patent, no problem. You guys can do this on patent boots. Now I did the same thing. For the second pair, I did the entire boot in one pass. I literally painted the sealant all at once, and I added gold leaf all at once, and I buffed all at once. It made the process much, much faster. Now, once you're done with that, you're gonna wanna kind of buff it. So you're gonna take like a microfiber cloth and sort of start rubbing it in. This is when the high shine really starts to show up. I would recommend doing it outside because it gets very flaky and this stuff likes to stick to things even if there isn't adhesive. So I ended up with like flaky gold pieces all over my house. So maybe do the second part, the buffing and the stippling outside. As you can see, there's tiny little flakes that start flying off. Bigger than glitter, but smaller than flakes that you can pick up. Now, remember that after the fact, you can patch in. So if you see little areas that you missed, you can go back in with gold foil to fix them. And I decided instead of trying to scrape the gold leaf off the sole, I would just paint it out. So I grabbed a black paint and I'm just literally like erasing it with paint. At this point is when you would add the sealant if you decide to do that. From all the reviews I read, the sealant is really only necessary to prevent any potential tarnishing that could happen because this was imitation gold leaf and not genuine. But I'm gonna wait and maybe do it down the road. All right, let's take a look at how they came out.
I'm thinking you were made for me. Isn't it my birthday yet? Cause I gotta say, you're looking like a gift for me. Wrapped up nice and neat, baby. Get in my way now, don't be shy. We'll be here dancing day and night. Get in my groove now, don't be shy. Cause I got this list of my favorite things. You could be the part where it all begins. You could be the first and the second and the third and the rest of it. You could be one of the things I love. Sunday morning breakfast with my bedroom door locked. I like everything that has a cherry on top. Get on my list of the things I love, love, love. You could be the one I trust. For the second chance I say I'm nothing for us. I like it all so fast, baby, I will show you how you can catch my vibe. And right here we got so much time, looping in the blurry lights.